I never thought my father's mistakes would become my prison. My name is Iris Hale, 24 years old, art teacher, normal life, normal apartment, normal problems, until the night 3 men in black suits knocked on my door. They didn't ask to come in. They just walked past me like I was already theirs. The tall one with the scar spoke first. Your father owes $2 million to the Volkov family. He's gone. You're what's left. I stood there, frozen. My father had been gone for 6 months. I thought he just left, like he always did when things got hard. I don't have that kind of money, I whispered. The scarred man smiled. It wasn't friendly. We know. That's why you're coming with us. I should have fought, screamed, called the police. But something in his eyes told me the police wouldn't help. Not with this. Not with them. They gave me 10 minutes to pack a bag. I grabbed clothes I didn't care about. A photo of my mother. My sketchbook, the one thing that kept me sane. When we walked outside, a black car was waiting. Tinted windows. Engine already running. I got in because I didn't know what else to do. The drive was silent. 40 minutes through the city. Then into the hills where houses became mansions and mansions became estates hidden behind iron gates. We stopped at the largest one. Stone walls. Security cameras everywhere. Men with guns standing at every corner. This wasn't just wealth. This was power. The kind you don't walk away from. They led me through hallways that smelled like leather and old money. Every step echoed. Every door we passed felt like another lock clicking shut behind me. Finally, we stopped at a set of double doors. The scarred man knocked once, then opened them without waiting for an answer. The office was dark. Only one lamp on the desk. Shadows everywhere else. And behind that desk sat a man who looked like he was carved from the same stone as his house. Late 30s. Dark hair slicked back. Sharp suit. Eyes so cold they could freeze you mid-breath. He didn't look up right away. He was reading something. A file. My file, I realized. When he finally looked at me, I felt my stomach drop. He studied me the way you'd study a painting. Not with lust. Not with kindness. With assessment. Like he was deciding what I was worth. Iris Hale, he said. His voice was deep. Controlled. The kind of voice that didn't need to be raised to be obeyed. I nodded because I didn't trust my voice. He closed the file. Your father stole from me. $2 million. Money I was moving for people who don't forgive debts. I didn't know. I don't care what you knew. He leaned back in his chair. Your father's gone. That makes you responsible. I can't pay that back, I said. I'm a teacher. I make $38,000 a year. He almost smiled. Almost. I know. Which is why you'll work for me instead. My heart stopped. Work for you? Doing what? He stood. Tall, broad-shouldered, the kind of man who commanded a room just by breathing. You'll live here. You'll do what I tell you. You'll stay out of my business. And when I decide your debt is paid, you'll leave. And if I say no? He walked around the desk. Slow, deliberate. He stopped 2 feet in front of me. Then I'll find your father. And I'll make you watch what happens to people who steal from me. I wanted to be brave. I wanted to tell him to go to hell. But I saw something in his eyes. Promise. A certainty. He wasn't bluffing. How long? I asked quietly. As long as it takes. He turned and walked back to his desk. Sat down. Picked up another file like I'd already disappeared. Dominic will show you to your room. You start tomorrow. The scarred man, Dominic, touched my arm. I flinched but followed him out. As the doors closed behind me, I heard the Mafia King's voice one last time. Welcome to the Volkov estate, Iris. Try not to disappoint me. I didn't even know his name yet, but I already knew one thing. I was owned. My room wasn't a cell. That's what surprised me most. It was large, clean, a bed with white sheets, a window that looked out over the estate gardens, a private bathroom with marble counters. It looked like a guest room. But the lock was on the outside of the door. Dominic stood in the doorway, arms crossed. He wasn't cruel. Just empty. Like he'd done this 100 times before. Breakfast is at 7, he said. Don't be late. Don't wander. Don't ask questions. Those are the 3 rules that'll keep you breathing. What am I supposed to do here? I asked. Whatever he tells you. Who is he? Dominic's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Respect. Or maybe fear. Nikolai Volkov. And if you're smart, you'll do exactly what he says. He closed the door. I heard the lock click. I sat on the bed and tried not to cry. I didn't sleep that night. I just stared at the ceiling, wondering how my life had turned into this. At 6:55 a.m., the lock clicked open. A woman stood there, older, maybe 50, stern face but not unkind. I'm Marie. I manage the house. Come. Breakfast. I followed her downstairs into a dining room bigger than my entire apartment. Long table, chandeliers, paintings on the walls that probably cost more than my college debt. Nikolai was already seated at the head of the table. He was reading a newspaper, coffee in one hand. He didn't look up when I entered. Marie gestured to a chair 6 seats away from him. I sat. Plate appeared in front of me. Eggs, toast, fruit. I wasn't hungry, but I ate because I didn't know what else to do. We sat in silence for 10 minutes. Then Nikolai spoke without looking up. You'll work in the East Wing Library, organizing files, cataloging records. Nothing sensitive. Marie will show you. Why me? I asked before I could stop myself. Now he looked up. His eyes locked onto mine. Gray, cold, unreadable. Because you're here. And because I said so. He went back to his newspaper. I wanted to argue, to ask more questions. But something about him made words die in my throat. After breakfast, Marie led me to the library. It was massive. Floor-to-ceiling shelves, leather chairs, a fireplace, boxes stacked everywhere, files, records, papers. Start with those, Marie said, pointing to a stack near the window. Alphabetical order. Don't read anything. Just organize. She left. I stood there for a moment, taking it in. This was my life now. A prisoner with a filing job. I opened the first box. The days blurred together. Wake up. Breakfast in silence. Work in the library. Lunch alone in my room. More work. Dinner in silence. Lock clicks at night. Nikolai barely spoke to me. When he did, it was orders. Short. Direct. Finish the west section by Friday. Marie needs help in the study. Stay out of the north wing. I obeyed. Not because I wanted to, because I was smart enough to know what happened to people who didn't. But I watched him. Couldn't help it. He moved through the house like a king in his castle. Men stepped aside when he walked past. Conversations stopped when he entered a room. Even Marie, strong, unshakable Marie, softened her voice around him. He was feared, respected, obeyed, but he was also alone. I never saw him smile, never heard him laugh. He took calls in Russian behind closed doors. He disappeared for hours into meetings I wasn't allowed near. At night, I'd hear him in his office, pacing, on the phone, sometimes yelling, sometimes silent. Once, I walked past his door at 2 in the morning. Couldn't sleep. I thought everyone was asleep, but I heard him, just breathing, slowly, like he was trying to calm himself down. I stood there, frozen, my hand on the wall. Then his voice came through the door, quiet, deadly. If you're going to eavesdrop, Iris, at least have the courage to knock. I ran back to my room. 2 weeks in, something changed. I was in the library organizing a new set of files when Nikolai walked in. He never came to the library. I stood, unsure what to do. He walked to the window, hands in his pockets, silent. I waited. Finally, he spoke. Do you hate me? The question caught me off guard. I don't know you, I said carefully. He almost smiled. Almost. Smart answer. He turned to face me. You've been here 2 weeks. You haven't tried to run. Haven't caused problems. Why? I met his eyes. Because I'm not stupid. This time he did smile. Just barely. It was gone in a second. Good. Stupidity gets people killed. He started to leave. then stopped at the door. Your father's alive, by the way. In case you were wondering. My heart jumped. Where is he? Hiding. Like a coward. Nikolai's voice went cold again. But I'll find him. I always do. He left. I stood there, shaking. My father was alive. And Nikolai was hunting him. Would you trust a man like him? 3 weeks in, I started to notice things. Small things. Things most people would miss. Nikolai drank his coffee black. No sugar. No cream. Every morning, same time, same cup. He wore his watch on his right wrist, not his left. He had a scar on the back of his neck, barely visible under his collar. Thin, precise, like a knife wound, and he was left-handed. I don't know why I noticed these things. Maybe because I had nothing else to do. Maybe because he was the only person in this house who felt real. Everyone else followed orders, spoke in clipped sentences, moved like soldiers. But Nikolai, he carried something heavier. Something I recognized because I'd carried it too. Loneliness. It was a Thursday when everything shifted. I was bringing files to his office. Marie asked me to. She said he needed them by noon. I knocked. Come in. I opened the door. He was standing by the window, phone pressed to his ear. His voice was low. Dangerous. I don't care what he wants. He knew the terms. If he can't deliver, he's done. He ended the call. Didn't even say goodbye. Just hung up and turned to me. Files? I handed them over. He flipped through them without looking at me. That's all? He asked. Yes. I turned to leave. Iris. I stopped. He was looking at me now. Really looking. Not assessing. Not commanding. Just looking. Do you draw? The question surprised me. Yes. I used to teach art. Used to. Before this. He nodded slowly. Set the files down. Show me. What? Your work. Show me. I hesitated. It's just sketches. Nothing special. I'll decide that. It wasn't a request. That night, I brought my sketchbook to his office. My hands were shaking. I don't know why. It was just drawings. But they were my drawings. The only part of me I had left. He sat behind his desk. Gestured for me to sit across from him. I did. Slid the sketchbook across the desk. He opened it. For 5 minutes he said nothing. Just turned pages. Slowly. Carefully. My sketches were all over the place. Faces I'd seen on the subway. Buildings. Hands. Eyes. My mother's face from memory. And more recently this house. The gardens. The hallways. Him. I'd drawn him 3 times without realizing it. Just quick sketches. His profile. His hands on his desk. His eyes. He stopped on one of those pages. You drew me, he said quietly. I draw what I see. He looked up. For the first time, I saw something in his eyes that wasn't cold. Curiosity. Why? Because you're different. Different how? I swallowed. You act like you don't care about anything. But you do. I can see it. His jaw tightened. He closed the sketchbook. Slid it back to me. You're wrong. But his voice wasn't convincing. After that night, things changed. He started asking me questions. Small ones. During breakfast. In passing. Do you miss teaching? What did your mother do? Why art? I answered. Carefully. Honestly. And slowly he started answering too. Not much. Just pieces. I grew up in Moscow. Came here when I was 16. My father built this empire. I inherited it. I don't trust anyone. It's easier that way. One night, a week later, I found him in the library. It was past midnight. Couldn't sleep. I went looking for a book. He was sitting in one of the leather chairs by the fireplace. No fire. Just darkness. A glass of whiskey in his hand. I almost left. But he spoke before I could. Can't sleep either? I shook my head. Sit. I sat in the chair across from him. We didn't talk. Just sat there in the quiet. After a while he spoke. You asked why I'm keeping you here. I nodded. Because you're the only person in this house who isn't afraid to look me in the eye. I looked at him. I'm terrified of you. He smiled. A real one this time. Small but real. I know. But you look anyway. He finished his drink. Stood. Good night, Iris. Good night, Nikolai. It was the first time I'd said his name out loud. He paused at the door. Didn't turn around. Call me Nick. Then he was gone. 1 month in, and I still didn't understand the rules. I was allowed in most of the house now. The library, the gardens, the kitchen, but the north wing, still forbidden. I asked Marie once what was up there. She just shook her head. Nothing you need to see. That, of course, made me want to see it even more. It was a Sunday. Nick was gone. Some meeting in the city. Dominic and most of the guards went with him. The house felt empty, quiet. I was in the garden, sketching the fountain, when I heard shouting. I looked up. 2 men I didn't recognize were at the front gate, arguing with the guard on duty. One of them pointed toward the house. Toward me. My stomach dropped. I stood, unsure what to do. The guard shook his head, raised his hand. The 2 men didn't leave. Then one of them pulled a gun. I ran. I didn't think. I just ran back toward the house. Behind me, I heard the gate crash open. Footsteps. Shouting. I made it to the side door. Slammed it shut. Locked it. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would burst. I ran upstairs. Locked myself in my room. Pulled out my phone. Nick had given me one last week. For emergencies, he'd said. I called him. He answered on the first ring. What's wrong? Not a question. Command. There are men. At the house. They. Where are you? My room. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone but me. I'm 10 minutes away. He hung up. I sat on the floor, back against the door, shaking. I heard crashes downstairs. Voices. More shouting. Then gunshots. I pressed my hands over my ears and squeezed my eyes shut. Felt like hours. But it was probably only minutes. Then I heard footsteps in the hallway. Fast. Heavy. Someone tried my door. I held my breath. Iris. It's me. Nick. I scrambled to my feet. Unlocked the door. He pushed inside. Slammed it shut behind him. His suit was torn. Blood on his knuckles. Gun in his hand. But his eyes were on me. Are you hurt? I shook my head. He grabbed my face with both hands. Tilted it side to side. Checking. Making sure. I'm fine, I whispered. He exhaled. Dropped his hands. They came for you. What? Why? His jaw clenched. Because they know you matter to me. The words hung in the air. I stared at him. I don't. Stay here. Don't leave this room until I come back. Nick. Stay here. He left. Locked the door from the outside. I heard him shouting orders. More gunshots. Then silence. An hour later he came back. The house was quiet again. He looked exhausted. He unlocked my door. Stepped inside. They're gone. Who were they? Rivals. The Kozlov family. They've been trying to move in on my territory for months. And they came here because of me? He didn't answer right away. Then he sat down on the edge of my bed. Ran a hand through his hair. Yes. Why? He looked at me. Because they think you're my weakness. Am I? He stood. Walked to the door. Stopped. Hand on the frame. I don't know yet. He left. I sat there shaking. Is he protecting her? Or controlling her? After that night, everything changed again. Nick doubled security. Guards everywhere. New locks. New cameras. And he barely left the estate. I saw him more. He was always there. In the hallway when I walked to the library. In the dining room during meals. In the garden when I sketched. Not hovering. Just present. It should have felt suffocating. But it didn't. Felt safe. 2 days later, I found him in his office. The door was open. He was at his desk staring at a file. I knocked. He looked up. Iris, can I ask you something? He leaned back, gestured for me to sit. I did. The north wing, I said. What's up there? His expression hardened. Nothing you need to see. That's what Marie said. Then why are you asking me? Because I want to know. He studied me. Why? Because if I'm stuck here, I want to understand this place. And you? He was quiet for a long moment. Then he stood. Come with me. He led me through the house, past the library, past the study, to a set of double doors I'd never been through. He unlocked them. The hallway beyond was different, darker, colder. We walked in silence. At the end of the hall, he stopped in front of another door. This is where I keep the past, he said quietly. He opened it. Inside was a room, not an office, not a bedroom, a memorial. Photos on the walls, dozens of them, people I didn't recognize. A woman, a young girl, an older man, family. My mother, Nick said, pointing to the woman. My sister, my father. What happened to them? They were killed 10 years ago by a man my father trusted. I looked at him. His face was stone, but his eyes were drowning. I'm sorry, I whispered. Don't be. I'm not. You don't mean that. He turned to me. I built this empire on their graves, Iris. I don't have the luxury of grief. Everyone has grief, Nick. His jaw tightened. Not me. But I saw it. The crack in his armor. I reached out, took his hand. He flinched, but he didn't pull away. We stood there, silent, his hand in mine. You don't have to do this alone, I said softly. Yes, I do. Why? Because everyone I've ever cared about ends up dead. He pulled his hand away, walked out. I stood there, heartbreaking for a man who wouldn't let anyone close enough to save him. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about him, about the way he looked at those photos, the way his voice cracked when he said, sister, the way he pulled away from my touch like it burned. I waited until midnight, then I left my room. I found him where I knew he'd be, the library, whiskey in hand, staring at nothing. You shouldn't be here, he said without looking up. Neither should you. I sat across from him. What do you want, Iris? I want to know why you're punishing yourself. He looked at me then, ice cold. You don't know what you're talking about. Don't I? You lock yourself in this house. You push everyone away. You act like caring about anything is a death sentence. It is. No, it's not. You're just scared. He stood, fury in his eyes. Scared? You think I'm scared? Yes, you're terrified that if you let anyone in, you'll lose them too. So you stay alone. You stay in control. You stay. Enough. His voice was deadly, but I didn't stop. You can't live like this forever, Nick. Watch me. He walked to the door. I care about you. The words came out before I could stop them. He froze, turned. What did you say? My heart was pounding. I care about you. I don't know why. I don't know how. But I do. He crossed the room in 3 steps, stood inches from me. You shouldn't. I know. I'm not a good man, Iris. I know that too. His eyes searched mine. If you stay close to me, you'll get hurt. Or worse. Then push me away. He stared at me, breathing hard. Then he did something I didn't expect. He kissed me. Hard. Desperate. Like he was drowning and I was air. Kissed him back. When he pulled away, we were both shaking. This is a mistake, he whispered. Probably. I can't protect you if... I'm not asking you to protect me. I'm asking you to let me stay. He pressed his forehead to mine. You're going to destroy me, Iris Hale. Good. You deserve to feel something. He laughed. A real broken laugh. Then he kissed me again. Softer this time. Like he was afraid I'd disappear. The next morning, everything felt different. Nick didn't avoid me. He didn't push me away. But he was careful. Like I was made of glass. At breakfast, he spoke. The Kozlovs won't stop. They know you're here. They'll come again. So what do we do? I handle it. You stay safe. Nick, this isn't a negotiation, Iris. I wanted to argue, but I saw the fear in his eyes. He wasn't trying to control me. He was trying to keep me alive. That night, everything fell apart. I was in my room when I heard the alarms. Gunfire. Shouting. Chaos. I ran to the door. Locked. I pounded on it. Nick. No answer. I heard explosions. Screaming. Then the door burst open. Dominic. We need to go. Now. Where's Nick? Fighting. Come on. He grabbed my arm. Pulled me down the hallway. We made it to the garage. Cars. Guards loading weapons. Get her out of here, Dominic shouted to one of the drivers. What about Nick? He'll follow. I'm not leaving without him. You don't have a choice. The driver opened the car door. I fought, kicked, screamed. Then I heard his voice. Iris. I turned. Nick was there. Blood on his face. Gun in his hand. He walked to me, cupped my face. You have to go. Not without you. I'll find you. I promise. Nick. He kissed me. Hard. Final. I love you. Now go. The driver pulled me into the car. The last thing I saw was Nick turning back toward the house. And then we were driving. Away from him. Away from everything. They took me to a safe house 2 hours outside the city. Small. Hidden. Armed guards outside. I sat on the couch. Numb. Dominic was there. Is he alive? I asked. I don't know. Don't lie to me. He sighed. The house was overrun. We lost contact an hour ago. My world stopped. No. I'm sorry, Iris. No. He promised. He promised he'd find me. I stood, paced, couldn't breathe. Dominic's phone rang. He answered. His face changed. It's him. He handed me the phone. Nick. Iris. His voice was rough, exhausted, but alive. Are you safe? Yes. Are you? For now. Stay where you are. I'm coming. Okay. Silence. I meant it, he said quietly. What I said. Tears streamed down my face. I know. I love you too. He hung up. 6 hours later, a car pulled up. I ran outside. Nick stepped out. Bruised. Bloody. But alive. I threw myself into his arms. He held me like I was the only thing keeping him standing. I thought I lost you, I whispered. You can't get rid of me that easily. I laughed through tears. He pulled back, looked at me. The Kozlovs are gone. It's over. Over. I made sure of it. I didn't ask what that meant. What now? I asked. He smiled. Tired. Real. Now we figure out what comes next. Together. My debt was paid the moment you stayed. The moment you looked at me like I was worth saving. I kissed him. You are worth saving, Nikolai Volkov. Then you're braver than I thought. The estate was different now. Quieter. Safer. I still lived there. But not as a prisoner. As his partner. Nick was still the Mafia King. Still dangerous. Still haunted. But he smiled more. Laughed more. Lived more. My father was found. Nick didn't kill him. Just made him disappear. Far away. Where he couldn't hurt anyone again. I didn't forgive him. But I let him go. One night, Nick found me in the library. Drawing again? He asked. Always. He sat beside me. Looked at my sketch. It was him. Smiling. I like this version of me better, he said. Me too. He took my hand. Thank you. For what? For seeing me when I couldn't see myself. I leaned against him. You're welcome. We sat there. Silent. Safe. Owned by the Mafia King. But free in all the ways that mattered. The end.